We are Stephen and Jill. Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. Stephen Jill here.
Hello.
Welcome to the Land Academy Show, entertaining land investment talk. I'm Stephen Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWitt, broadcasting from the Valley of the Sun.
Today, Jill and I talk about using real estate news to forecast your land investing choices.
Okay. This, I like this because, and I'm glad we're talking about this, because we all are reading, oh my gosh, it's slowing down. Interest rates are 5%. We haven't seen that since 2000 and whatever. Everybody's panicking. Now it's going to be changing. What do we do? What do we do? And so everybody, there's always a fire. So I'm happy to talk about it. And I want to talk about too, what pieces of that do we pick out and use for our purposes? And when do we just go, well, whatever?
I don't care who you are or where you come from. If you don't agree with this statement, something's wrong.
Okay.
The news is a mess.
Oh, gosh.
I don't care.
They like it that way.
I don't care. Yeah. It's all shock value. I don't care where you come from, right, left, up, down, doesn't matter.
Right.
We have now more than ever, I tell our kids this all the time. You kids have a massive responsibility in your generation to cipher through all the gunk that's out there, way more than Jill and I ever had to.
Yeah.
We had 3 or 4 television stations, a bunch of radio stations, and old school parents telling us, and we didn't have any choices. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying it's a lot harder now.
Do you think we're swinging back? I kind of do.
I hope so.
I think we're kind of swinging back where everybody was so into their phones and this and that. No one communicated. And now I honestly think that there's a little bit of a pushback and swinging back a little bit where I'm going to pick up the phone or I'm going to get on my bike.
Look, there's some
I'm going to get on my bike and ride over and see who's home.
I have a lot to say about this, and it is very, in my opinion, very easily decipherable. And it's really easy to find the good real truth in news and statistics and economics and all of that really easily. And I'll talk all about it here in a few minutes. Every single week on Thursday at 2:00 Pacific time, we have a closed membership call for Land Academy members. There's several hundred people on there every week. And I start the call off by talking about exactly what we're going to talk about today. Like,
right.
Hey, let's look at the market and is it good for us or bad for us or what's coming? The good news is that if you pay attention to, 4 or 5 things which she'll talk about, you can see into the future. It's not like the stock market.
That's true.
Before we get into it, let's take a question posted by one of our members on the landinvestors.com online community. It's free. And I hope you know that Jill and I personally instruct a handful of new and existing Land Academy members in a live class called Career Path. If buying and selling your land is your career, or you want it to be, give us a call. Or actually email us at support@landacademy.com and find out if it's for you.
Dave wrote, is anyone out there having their deal funders ask them to assign the contract to them? The funder prior to closing on the buy side. One of my funders who I've done multiple deals with is asking for this now. I like this person and trust them as much as you could trust someone you haven't met, but it makes me nervous signing over all legal interest in this property with only a TIC agreement, whatever the little
This
contract.
is very encrypted.
Contract in place to protect my interest in the proceeds.
Not you.
Okay, thank you. Am I wrong here? Or I have a lot to say on this.
So do I.
Or is this the new normal? Like I said, I trust this person. I'm not even remotely worried that they're trying anything funny. It just feels weird, especially since we've never done it like this before, and none of the other funders I've worked with have either. So here's the whole point. If it's a deal like I usually do, where you find the deal, you have a signed purchase agreement, has your company name on it, your name, whatever it is, everything's peachy. You reach out to me. I say, sure, I'll fund it. I'm going to fund 100%. Now we open escrow. So as we get into escrow, 99% of the time, they're going to say, wait a minute. If Jill's buying it, Jill's name should be on this purchase agreement, not Mike Smith on the purchase agreement. So in order for this to work, we need to get you an updated, whatever. So that will normally happen, and that will be requested by the title agent. And then we go, oh, sure, no big deal. We're all in escrow. We're all on the same page and we're moving along. So I I think that this person is probably, I'm trusting. If you trust them, I'm trusting them. They've done some deals before and they do need to have their name on the purchase agreement. Are they opening escrow? So if they're handling, it kind of depends on who's doing the work here. If they're opening escrow for you and getting that part rolling because it's their money and they're predicting they're going to ask for this down the road and they're right, then I agree with it. So I actually don't have issues with this.
This is the norm.
Yeah.
The person who has the
It's
money
correct.
calls the shots.
Right.
Not just in land investing, but everything.
Right.
So, yeah, if you find a great deal and you have a funder and it's supposed to, you need the $20,000 to buy it and it's going to generate at $80,000. Yeah, it's going to go in the funder. You bring it to the funder puts it in their own name or assigns it. In this case, I think you're going to assign it to the funder. You're going to go about your awesome business of effectively selling the property without this funder's involvement, generate the $80,000. It's going to go into the funder's bank account and you're going to get paid out of escrow. I can't think of a better arrangement.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you both get paid out of escrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the funder. Not the funder writing you a check.
The name on escrow is the funder.
Right.
Not you.
Right. Unless you guys are splitting it. I've had a few deals like that where we split it 50-50.
Well, sure. If you're going to put 50% of the money in, sure.
We both of our names are on the deed.
That's awesome.
And both
That's
of our
how it
names
should
are on
be.
the document.
Yep.
So I'm glad you asked this question. And hopefully that helped you feel good.
This is confusing for this reason, and this is in Discord all over the place right now. Regular lendings, this is not lending. It's a partnership. It's equity financing, technically. What we're all used to is debt financing. When we go to buy a house from Bank of America, they give us the mortgage. We go on the deed. We own the house. And then there's a lien. There's a lien. Bank of America has a lien until we pay our mortgage off, and then we own it free and clear with a full bundle of rights. So this is what causes this confusion about the way in Land Academy, how we fund deals and how we think is the great. I'm allergic to debt. Here, full disclosure, truth time. There's a lot of talk right now in Discord about hard money and hard money lending. And I don't believe in that. I don't believe in debt in general, certainly not unsecured debt. I'm actually going to talk about it on the Thursday call today in great detail. So, and Jill and I are on the same page about this. So
I hear triage and I'm like, don't.
Me too.
Don't do that.
I think it's sneaky.
I do too.
I think you don't really have any real position. You have equitable title, no real position in it. Yeah. And then the other side of the argument is it's expensive. Equity finance is expensive. Mm-hmm. But you don't have to go through any of the stuff. And if something goes sideways, guess what? The funder's stuck with it with no recourse.
Yeah.
So that's why your funder's saying, I want 30, 40, 50% of this deal, because if something goes sideways,
I'm stuck with it.
I have to take all the risk. You're taking no risk at all.
Right. That's true. Today's topic is using sorry.
I got sidetracked. Go ahead. Okay.
Using real estate news to forecast your land investing choices in 2022. Before you start, I would love to make one comment to a comment you made, which I thought was brilliant. You said, what's great about this industry is it's not like the stock market. Holy moly. The stock market can change in minutes.
Yeah.
That's what's,
according to the weather, it can change.
Right?
Literally.
It could be, it could be. It could be a tornado takes out GoDaddy and watch the stock market. You think I'm kidding?
No, I'm not. You're exactly right.
And then the stock market plummets in minutes. What just happened?
Or war breaks out, like this thing in Ukraine. That dramatically alters. Right. So it doesn't change how we buy and sell land at all.
We are very fortunate that what we do, we can see stuff coming. We can plan for it. We can kind of predict it. And I know you're going to talk all about that.
Yeah.
So thank you.
There's key indicators all over the internet or all over the news, and there always have been. The federal government keeps microscopic track for all the stuff that the federal government does wrong. One of the things that I believe that they actually do really well and have done really well.
I'm going to write this down. That's number 3. Number 3 out of 3,421,637. Thank you.
They keep through the census and all kinds of other types of bureaus, federal bureaus. They keep fantastic records of all kinds of stuff that goes on in our country, like gross domestic product, how many housing starts there are, and on and on and on. It's seemingly limitless. And I'm a data person, so I love this stuff. So that's the real meat of what all the noise on the internet is. So if you go to look at any article, or hopefully most articles about, hey, the unemployment rate went up or down, at the bottom of the article or right in the article, whoever's writing it, including if it's a computer, which is often, it'll say this is the root of this article, or that it's old school. You called it a footnote. This is the source of my information, and then they go off. And so you have to separate actual statistics from opinions, and the vast majority of it's opinions. And when you Google something, you're going to get 92 opinions, and at the bottom, the federal government article that whoever wrote it or released the information that they've been tracking for 100 plus years, literally. And that's the source of it. So there's all news housing starts, to get to the real serious topic here. When you get to the source of all these silly articles, we look at new housing starts. We look at not so much interest rates, but mortgage rates. We look at now through websites like realtor.com, who have spent hundreds of millions of dollars a year collecting data to tell their real estate agents and now the public where people are moving, why they're moving there, and on and on and on. So if you track this stuff and you look at it like we do on the Thursday member call, you can see slight little movements. Nothing happens overnight in real estate. And I'm knocking on wood here. Almost never do things happen overnight, like on the stock market.
No.
You don't ever wake up and say,
fast,
half my portfolio is gone. You just don't do that.
No,
that's why we're in this business.
I'd say like lightning speed for real estate would be 30 days.
That'd be lightning speed.
Lightning speed.
Really, it's six months to a year.
What I was gonna say.
And so everything in the real estate market is gauged by houses, SFRs. Why? Because everybody understands houses. As a consumer, we understand a house. As a renter who wants to have a house, we get it. As a lender, we understand houses. So the vast majority of real estate is tracked in SFR speak. And so, yeah, we track that because land always follows that. Land is always 6 months to a year behind it when it comes to market fluctuation and pricing and all of that. When you get into urban markets and infill lots, houses define prices. And so it's really, really easy to track what makes sense to you from a housing standpoint to see what's going to happen in the land market. Let me give you an example. If you live in Joliet, Illinois, I'm just picking out a city or a town, and you spend about an hour on Google realizing what those zip codes are, even the census tracts, if you want to, and then looking at the real estate data that is produced on the internet or associated with those zip codes about new housing starts, the prices of the median price of houses going up and down over time, and all the factors that go into that and why, you're going to get a real feel for that market in maybe an hour or an hour and a half. And then you can line up all the data against that to Jonesboro, Illinois, which is south of there. I don't know why I'm picking on Illinois today. It's just it. That's what came to my mind. And you can pretty quickly see that, well, stuff in Joliet's a lot slower than, let's say, Jonesboro. And then start comparing Illinois to Indiana and on and on and on. So you get this relativity and this movement of how prices are happening with houses and in a lot of cases in more urban areas, land. And so you can forecast what's going to happen.
I have a question when you tell me
Sure.
it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but I am going to kind of put you on the spot.
Sure.
So
Stump the chump.
Oh, I love this game. No. But okay, based on current new information about, interest rates going up and people worrying about housing slowing and people not being able to qualify for housing, I'm still feel like we're sitting pretty beyond 6 months in the land space. So what do you think about, let me phrase it another way. I can't qualify for a house. I've got all this money lined up. I've got this, I can't get this, but I can sure afford a piece of dirt and I can sure afford to do it on my own. Might take me longer, but I can do it.
So this is a great question. You have to separate the questions into two parts. You have to think like a seller and think like a buyer. Right now, it's a seller's market because there's so many buyers. Why? Because buyers are flush with cash. Why? Because their house values have skyrocketed in the last 12 months. So they have a lot of cash. They have a lot of cash from a second position mortgage or home equity line and all of that. Jill and I have seen, this is our fourth cycle. This is my fourth cycle in my lifetime. It's probably Jill's third cycle for a bunch of reasons. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I have an unhealthy interest. As a teenager.
Sounds like Jill was at a program for one of them.
Jill was having fun as a teenager while I was sitting looking at a computer. So
there is that, yes.
That's really what I mean. Like that first cycle, Jill was like
I was
13.
At every concert.
Yeah.
I was front row seats at every concert. That's why you're in a classroom.
So there's two perspectives in all this stuff, a buyer and a seller, and so in both markets, we, as land investors in our group, we both make money in both markets. It's just different ways of making money. So right now, it's a great market for a seller because everybody's flush with cash. Well, what's changing because of inflation? Interest rates are going up to try to hedge that off. The federal government's raising interest rates, and the direct effect of that is raising mortgage rates. Please don't confuse it too. Mortgage rates follow interest rates. And so you can see what's going to happen if interest rates there's an announcement that then mortgage rates go up maybe a day or 2 days later. So you can see into the crystal ball in this stuff. So how much time do we have? Well, there's a bunch of factors in effect here. Number one, and first and foremost, the millennial generation from a sheer size standpoint is like nothing this country's ever seen. There are more people turning 30 and in that 35-year-old range than ever before in sheer numbers, and they all need a place to live. They also are the most educated, so they have the most money. There's a huge workforce lust right now, so it's really easy for these kids to jump jobs and make more money and afford more housing. And so that's all good for us as land sellers. It's harder to buy property the way that we want, which is a natural, and this is the second part of it, a natural progression because prices are higher. But it doesn't, we still make just as much money because we pay more and sell it for more.
And the way we do it, I'm still looking for a situation that'll never change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Explain that. I'm like midstream in this.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought you were done. That was it.
So here's the thing. If you watch these statistics every week, like we do on Thursday, you can actually predict it. But I'll tell you what I just read an article and the federal government came out with a report about cash on hand and tertiary debt. And so for whatever reason, and I think it's a direct result of the federal government subsidizing everybody with cash payments over this COVID period, that's run out. And so we took on like as a country, more than $1 trillion of tertiary debt in the last 3 months, last quarter. So that, and here's the great news, which tells me that people are running out of cash, that this flush cash situation. Well, guess what? The first thing people do when they run out of cash? Sell something.
That's what I was going to, that was my point.
Land that they're not using.
It's a situation.
So it goes like this. It's a slow rolling wave most of the time in real estate. And you can, just like a surfer, you can pretty much see where it's going to crest if you know what you're looking at. Go ahead.
That was it. I explained my situation.
Oh.
Happy you could join us today. 5 days a week, you can find us here on the Land Academy Show.
Tomorrow, the episode on the Land Academy Show is called How to Handle Multiple Land Buyers All at Once. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
That was good. You did have a lot to say. It was one of our longest shows in a while. Yeah, I know. Yes. People think that I have a lot to say, but oh, no. I don't have nearly as much to say.
Yep.
It's good. Hey, thanks for tuning in. And by the way, in case you didn't know, we recently released our latest and greatest 2022 educational project for Land Academy called Land Academy 3.0, catching up with Land Academy. We spent months putting this together and making sure you have the most up-to-date education program on the market to help you succeed, like us, at buying and selling land. Call 833-522-5545 or send a message to support@landacademy.com if you have questions and you want to see if this is for you.
We are Jack and Jill. Information
And inspiration
to buy undervalued property.
We hope you found our content valuable and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.